This week's episode of Dude Soup is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy today at expressvpn.com/RTTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Funhaus podcast. Today is January 19th, 2021. With me today is your favorite Funhaus duo, Elise Willems.
Hey, Lindsay. Thanks for having
Ryan
me. I would
Haley.
say that
And
Lindsay
me.
Lindsay and Elise is a great... Oh!
No, it's James Willems.
You did the thing I was going to
James
do, just
Willems.
say that Elise and Lindsay's a pretty great duo, too. if I have to
And
say.
I don't know why I wrote it like this. From the smash hit pop culture news and political commentary YouTube channel, Internet Today, Ricky Hayberg.
Whoa! Hello, thanks for having me. I just saw the background of Elise for the first time, and she has the same book as me, the Atlas Obscura.
A lot of luck or a lot of use
wow.
we're getting out of it right now.
Yeah, don't leave home without it, or don't leave home, ever.
Wow.
Do you
Well,
also have the
with your
UK
books.
editions of Harry Potter, too?
No, I only play the games, you know.
How many White Tiger Megazords do you have?
0. Now you guys are just like flexing. I just started putting together my background like a month ago, so I only have my little YouTube award and my XFL football. Just it's a wall of failure. Cuphead did
great.
okay though.
Elise, before you put that bookshelf there, where were you hiding all those books?
Oh my gosh, they were in our bedroom and they were like all like packed crazy tight on top of each other and squeezed in. But now I can like show off all my cool
Full
stuff. So, like my
display.
Triforce.
You did
I have all my Jim Henson books on a shelf together.
Are you going to get a little chair maybe for like the corner, like a little reading chair?
I would like to get a memory foam beanbag chair so I can kind of curl up and die in the chair and be found.
I've been pushing for Elise to get those things that they have at like old libraries, which are the ladders on wheels. So that way, if she needs to reach the upper shelves, she can do that. Or if she needs to sing a song, she can jump on it and it'll slide.
It's the most whimsical way to
Freaky.
get down a book.
That's perfect. I just have my degrees in IKEA frames. So.
Perfect. And a plant.
And a plant that I'm trying to keep alive. So
Monstera. It
He's
looks
doing
good.
okay. Yeah, he's doing okay. I don't know if it's a he or she. No, don't. There's some dead leaves. Okay, I got it.
My silver YouTube button is basically my diploma. If I ever needed to get a job that was off YouTube, that would be pretty much the only thing I have to bring in to the future employer.
Silver's what, 100?
Yeah. We got, with the old, when we were at Machinima, we got to like 950,000. We're like, all right, we're going to get that gold play button in no time. And then it just like, YouTube did that thing where they're like, yeah, we're just going to like accidentally unsub a bunch of people from your channel right before the finish line.
That's why I think they did it, honestly. I think that they got rid of all those. They unsubbed and did that whole thing because they were worried about how much they were going to have to spend on those play buttons.
Yeah.
So
it took us 2 years to get that. Like, we got the 100,000 really quick, but then, it was like 2 years, I think, before we just got this, like, really recently.
yeah, to receive it, to actually get it. Yeah.
So,
All right.
Well, there's not a lot going on this week. Probably not too much to talk about. So I just was going to say, before we jump into not talking about anything, or, talking about I wrote this too, our hopes and dreams for getting the vaccine and then all of us going to Vegas and blacking out in the MGM Grand Lazy River. Don't know if it's your dream. It's my dream.
I really want to go to, me and my wife keep talking about, like, everything that we want to do. It's like how in the before times, you would, once a year, twice a year, people would play the lottery when it gets to that big number. And then you'd spend, the days leading up to it fantasizing about what you would do if you won the money. And that's really what you're buying. What the hopium that I'm ingesting now is just like, what if everything went back to normal and we could do anything? But the sad reality is that it's going to probably be years before anything's back to normal. And even with the vaccine, travel's probably going to be restricted and, things aren't going to be fully open. And so that's sad.
The question is, what will normal look like? Will we see a new version of normal? I was talking about this morning. Will Costco ever go back to having samples in store, food samples? Or will things like that be a relic of the past, of our pre-pandemic past?
That they did. I could have sworn that they did still have samples of certain things. that could be controlled. Like they weren't just putting out the small wieners that they're cutting into 5 pieces or whatever. But I thought they did have like samples of like some things that like
during the pandemic,
sealed packages. Like
Maybe
they'll have to put little lids on
yeah.
everything. But yeah, I think it's going to be a while before you see something like a Coachella or an amusement park at full capacity outside of the state of Florida, or just, I don't know, concerts in general. It seems so foreign now, like so alien to think about getting in a room with a bunch of people. Even if you were vaccinated, I'd still be nervous for a while.
I mean, you made a joke, but I think you're actually probably pretty 100% right about what's going to happen. Is that we're going to get into this thing where they're going kind of like, you're like, oh well, yeah, you used to drive across state lines because that's where you could buy fireworks. I think we're going to get into a situation where it's going to be like, oh yeah, well, we can't have a party in California, but we can't, like, a bunch of our friends are all traveling to Nevada because we can have a party there.
You guys want to go to the Costco in Arizona to get some samples?
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I do really want to go to Vegas with Lindsay.
I can't wait. But I mean, you're totally right, because I'm looking at pictures of my sister who's taking her, 5-year-old to the Museum of History, and I'm like, I can't go to. And that's like, in Ohio, I'm like, I can't go to a museum here. They're not open.
And my dad says,
I could go to a museum.
My parents live in Florida, and he's like, everything's wide open here. Like, he doesn't. Look, I really hope that he doesn't get sick, but it seems as though people in Florida are being a lot riskier than I would be comfortable with. He was like, we went to a restaurant, nobody's wearing masks, like everything's open, stuff like that. And it's just like,
I didn't see any viruses.
Yeah,
Tripping the light fantastique, as we might say.
Yeah. I remember, like, even a couple months ago, him being like, I know a lot of people, and I don't know anyone that's got it.
I know a lot of people who have got it.
Yeah, no, I do. I know a ton of people who have died. I have friends' parents who
Yeah.
have died. I have people in my parents' hometown, my old friends that I grew up with there. Right now, his parents both have it. And like my dad's response would be like, "Well, I hope they turn out okay."
It's interesting, and I think it has a lot to do with kind of what we do for a living, maybe all 4 of us. But I don't know anyone close to me who has gotten it here in LA, despite the fact that it is like the
Epicenter
Satan's anus of COVID right now. Like,
that's because you don't let anyone truly get close to you.
That's
You've always
true.
said that.
Yeah.
It protects you.
But that's emotionally, though. Physically, I'm like Fassbender in the movie where he bangs everything. Days of Future Past. But I do think that, like, I do know people back in North Carolina where it's supposedly, I mean, it's a big deal everywhere, but like, I have a feeling that like maybe people are in these other places. The reason they don't have red alarms spinning everywhere like they kind of do in LA is because people have just decided to keep living their life. And now we're treating getting COVID like when, your older sister is actually your mom. It's like, oh no, she's just at sleepaway camp. But the truth of the matter is she got knocked up at 16 and then, and now the whole family has to pretend. Like, I feel like that's what we're doing with COVID in a lot of places too. We're just like, oh, no. They don't have COVID. They're just got a heavy cough and might die in the hospital.
I was talking with my wife about this last night. When you guys were young, did your parents like force you to go to school and be around kids when they had chickenpox so that you could get it and get over it?
When I was like 6 months, my mom took me to my cousin's house, and we just hung out there until I got chickenpox.
Yep, that's what happened to me.
I had chickenpox as an infant, like a baby.
Yeah.
I think I was in like very young elementary school, but my wife thought that was crazy.
Really? She's not.
I don't.
She's never heard of that?
I don't know if people do it anymore.
Has she had chickenpox?
Uh-uh.
Oh, well then that's the thing though. Because your immune system is prepped for chickenpox when you're like a little kid.
Now isn't she more susceptible to getting shingles?
It's a way bigger deal if you get it as an adult. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing.
Remember Joel had shingles?
Joel had shingles, and Bruce, who hadn't had chickenpox, had to be genuinely careful because it could have been way worse for him. But yeah, I was a little baby, and there's actually a picture of myself and my brother in the tub together, and he's got chickenpox. And I was like, that was it. This is the point. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the reason that I remember that small fact too is because I found a VHS tape that was like from my childhood, and I'm like, Mom, like, oh, we're hanging out at Aunt's house. She's like, oh yeah, that's when your cousin had chicken pox, and like there's footage of her. She's like scratching, and my aunt's like, can you help her? And my mom's like, oh yeah, I brought you over there because we were trying to get you to have chicken pox.
Yeah.
And
Your mom
it was like
arms.
6 months.
Yeah. I get by with a little help from my friends.
It's all on tape.
I get
It's all on
by.
tape. But yeah, I had
wow.
it when I was a baby.
But yeah, I think the issue here is that, like, you know, we're also at an age, we're in an industry that is, luckily for the most part, you're able to do it from home. Also, we're at an age where, you know, luckily, I would say, in some cases, not luckily, some people do have really, really adverse effects to it. But, you know, there's probably people who have gotten it and not even known it because they were asymptomatic or had mild symptoms like a cough or sneeze or whatever. But that doesn't mean that they didn't, you know, couldn't pass it to someone or anything like that. It's just like we're in that like middle of the between your 20s and 50s where it's just like, you don't really know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I still don't want it though. So I've literally like I've been in solitude for like 10 months. I've gone out, you know, I go hiking maybe if there's no one around. And like the other day I went off the trail because there was a family coming towards me. So I went off the trail like 12 feet and put my mask on. And I felt like the crazy one because like none of them had masks on and they're just like looking at me like I'm crazy.
Oh yeah,
Isn't that
that's
weird? I
something-
step out all the way all the time. People look at you like you're a lunatic. It's like, excuse me.
Something
You're
I noticed a
crazy.
lot is I'll be wearing a mask, you know, walking my dog or whatever, and somebody will approach me that's not wearing a mask, and I'm the one to move out of the way when I feel like, and a lot of the time I just notice more. It's like it's a lot of men too, more so than women, and they expect me to move out of the way, and which is like, you know, at least if you're not going to wear the mask, at least be courteous and just
Well,
move it.
no,
Like,
at least because you know the same reason that they're not stepping out of the way is the same reason that they're not wearing a mask. It's because
yeah,
just don't
you're
care.
right.
Yeah.
But like, because like if I'm you know walking down the street and there's an older person and where I will cross the street so that they don't have to move out of their way, you know, to be socially
and plus
distanced
old
from
people
me.
smell.
If there's a person with a baby carriage, I'll move out of the way. Like,
I will say, like, it does make me, like, I'm happy to. I'm very happy that I haven't gotten it. I'm very happy that I've been able to, you know, work from home and do all that stuff. But it does make me feel like I'm losing my mind when I see people living completely normally, doing absolutely whatever the hell they want and being completely unaffected by it. It's just like, like over Christmas, like obviously we told our parents we're not visiting, you guys can't come here. And then it's like, you know, you call family and it's like, yeah, we're all together. What? Like, what are you doing?
yeah. Do you get unreasonably excited when you see Elliot, the like one person that you see?
I think it
You
does
touch him?
help.
You, like,
Yeah,
pet him?
it does feel normal because we've been kind of in our own bubble the whole time. So it does just feel like I'm seeing my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elliot, your co-host of Internet Today.
Yeah, my
For
work
the-
wife. So it doesn't seem weird anymore. It would be weird if we like stopped for a while and then started up again in person. But like since we're literally just two people, we don't have any production staff. We don't have anything. We never had to stop. We even had like at the beginning of it, we like printed out the statement from Gavin Newsom and the mayor saying that podcasts were essential and like had them in our cars in case we got pulled over. But no, he's also, you know, really staying isolated and all that stuff. So it's never been a problem. And, you know, to our credit, when nothing's happened since. So it's we're very lucky to be in that specific scenario. If we had anyone working with us, obviously it would be a bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Has it been a challenge? I mean, I know it's changed a lot over the course of these last 8 months, but has it been a I don't know how to phrase this. Have you guys gotten to a place where you feel comfortable talking about COVID on the show? Because I know at first there was the whole thing where YouTube was flagging. You know, like you couldn't even mention COVID in your video.
Yeah, we're completely comfortable with it now because we've fought it so many times that we know the process of them. They're going to reverse it because we know the one time where we actually had to get like our network involved to where they, because YouTube, you obviously can't talk to someone. You have to have someone at your MCN or your manager or whoever talk to them. And the one time that we had to have someone step in was we obviously jokingly were talking about how people were saying that you could, that obviously COVID can live inside the testicles. And so that it would probably be a good idea for men to boil their testicles once a night after a long day of exposing themselves to the virus. And YouTube really didn't like that idea. Oh, I think I'm losing power. No?
Oh, you're still here. You're still here.
I had a spike. I had a spike.
I saw flash. Flash. Yeah.
One of my monitors went out. Anyways, jeez. Yeah. So they did. YouTube's trying to shut me down.
You just even mentioning it.
So that was the only one we had to fight. The other ones are just like flip the button that says we didn't do anything bad, and then 8 hours later they're like, all right, you can have your monetization back now that it's too late.
Yeah.
I guess for me it's weird because I already boil my testicles, so it's like it's not going to help me.
Yeah.
So it's just routine at this point. You
sit in a jacuzzi made of wood over a fire, like a fire that you set every night.
I'm trying to get the wrinkles out is my goal. I want to get all the wrinkles out and just have a nice smooth. I want it to look like my forehead. Is what I've always said. I say that to Elise every night. I just want it to look like
well, and then he gets more Botox in his forehead because then he wants to set a new standard for his testicles.
That's what I was going to say. As you get older, your forehead's going to slowly start resembling your testicles more.
Yeah, it's like Dorian Gray.
Yeah, and then your balls become smoother as you age because they get fuller and heavier with the weight of a life well lived.
Yes.
Anyways, can't wait to get that vaccine.
Oh my God, it's insane. Right. It's like the fact that some people won't take it. I wish I could just get in line and just look. I know that obviously people need it more than like healthcare workers. Yes, old people. Yes.
Sure,
the fact that we're just now being like, okay, now people 65 and older can have it. That should have been at the start. The more people that have it, the less chance there is to spread. If you want it, you should be able to get it. We need to be producing more of it, obviously. But yeah, it's like so aggravating seeing like going online and being like, probably won't be able to get it till I don't know, July if everything works out right. So
I got my flu shot on Saturday, which admittedly is much later than I'm used to getting my flu shot. But because of everything, it was like, okay, well, how am I gonna, I'm trying to go out less. So the idea of like doing that was a little bit tough, and I'm also not seeing anybody, but I still want to participate in the herd immunity that I know no one else participates in. But either way, I was able to schedule to get an appointment to get a flu shot. And that process for me was just so like, oh, yes, thank God, give it to me. Like, put it in my arm. Like,
this is how it should be for everything else.
What other needles you got back there?
Tell them what happened after you got the shot, though.
Oh, well, so it was a kind of a rush job. The pharmacist was
That's
not...
what you want to hear.
Yeah, I was definitely lower on their priorities of stuff going on. It was a little manic. But basically, it was like, all right, here we go. And then, alcohol swabs, took the shot, boom, just like slammed it into my arm, pulled it out, and was like, he looked at it and he went, you should be fine, no Band-Aid. And I went, cool, I heal fast.
Yeah.
And so then by the time I walked from the pharmacy out to my car, I think I stopped and bought cookies on the way out. But I bought cookies on the way out.
To get your blood sugar back up after the traumatic experience.
Yeah. And then so by the time I got to my car, I was like, is it raining? And I looked over and my arm was just bleeding.
Oh, no.
It's like it had like sopped through my shirt and then was like bleeding down my arm, just like this trail of blood. I posted an Instagram photo of it, but I was like, oh man, no, he definitely needed a Band-Aid real bad.
So this is my fourth 12-hour shift in like 3 days. So please just take your shot and leave.
Yeah. I mean, I would have put it on myself, but I just thought it was funny. He was like, oh no, you're good. You're totally good. And then I basically was like driving home holding like something from my arm, filling that napkin with blood.
Yeah.
It's like, I've never seen so much blood come from a puncture wound before. So, but either way. But now I got.
Well, now you're safe. They say that the flu overall has been down like dramatically because of everyone isolating and putting their masks on and all that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I upgrade before the spike. I not to like make the whole thing about COVID, because people watching are probably just like, enough of the COVID.
Yeah.
Ugh. But I started luckily before the spike in LA, I bought a bunch of those KN95 masks, like the ones that are like just a step below the medical grade, because Fry's Electronics here has basically like turned into a PPE warehouse instead of an electronics store. And I'm lucky I got them when I did, because I went back right before we went on break to get more, and they were like completely sold out. I had to order like the expensive ones off of Amazon. But yeah, I have like a supply of those, because like, yeah, I just don't trust like the cloth masks anymore. Like if we've restricted like going out anywhere we go to Trader Joe's once every 2 weeks, and that's it.
Ricky, can I ask, and how many copies of I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry did you buy?
Well, they only had one in the bargain bin.
Oh,
So it's in the bin.
No, it's one per customer, because it's considered an essential service.
okay. So they limit it. I
Yeah. So they replenish it once that person leaves.
I once was at a Fry's years ago when you could go to Fry's, and I found in the bin, what was it? It was a double feature, Tango and Cash. Oh, Tango and Cash and Cobra, and it was in the bargain bin. And I remember audibly in the store holding it up and going, "Are you kidding me?" It's like a DVD with the double feature, one on each side, and are you kidding me? That's what my life was.
The last double feature I would have bought, I know that Kingpin was one of the DVDs. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. But I think I bought it solely because I wanted to get Kingpin, and then whatever the other one was just tertiary to it all.
Yeah, it was helping to get sales up by attaching it to the hit movie Kingpin. When I moved, I didn't have internet for like 2 weeks. It was supposed to be like 3 days, but I didn't have internet for like 2 weeks. So I had to go to Target to like just buy DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever they had. And luckily there's like, instead of like bundling it like one or two, they had these decade bundles. So I bought like 80s comedy, which had like 7 movies, and they were all like completely random. I think it was like because Warner Brothers it was like every big comedy movie that Warner Brothers had produced. So it was like, it was like really strange. It was like National Lampoon's Vacation, Gremlins, Beetlejuice, for some reason Batman was on there. It was just like whatever they could put onto one disc was whatever they could do. And then I just ended up getting a bunch of like Christmas movies off of Amazon. But I watched every Star Wars. We started watching the Harry Potters but gave up. And then like all these like just weird 80s movies. But yeah, that was the first time I've bought in like physical media in so long. It was completely like dispensable, because I was like, well, after these 2 weeks I'll never watch these ever again, unless it was on like a streaming platform. But it was very very retro, very cool.
Lindsay, I know you have other topics, but Elise and I just for reasons had to get up early this morning, earlier than we normally would, and so we really wanted to be able to fall asleep quickly. So to unwind, we decided to try and find something to watch, and we literally like went onto Amazon Prime and searched 80s movies free Prime to see what came up.
Because my sweet spot is like late 80s, early 90s in terms of movies, comfort stuff,
Yeah. And unfortunately, Elise fell asleep while we were in the interim watching Hollywood bloopers. But afterwards, I put on Heavenly Kid.
Rick Moranis.
Which at least I don't think Rick Moranis is in it.
Is it not Rick Moranis? Is it Dave? Who's in it? Is it
I think it's Quaid? But I don't think it's anybody except for the guy who plays Commandant Lassard from Police Academy, maybe.
Really? I've never heard of this.
I had never heard of it either. It was in 4x3, so I can only assume that meant that it was some sort of made-for-TV movie.
No, that's not right there. What movie am I confusing it with then?
Heavenly Sent?
Are you thinking
Heavenly Kid?
My Blue Heaven?
Oh, maybe My Blue Heaven is what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Which is Rick Moranis and
Steve Martin, right?
Steve Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
Heaven Sent is with Ernie Hudson, Christian Kane.
Yeah. This is Heavenly Kid, guys.
Oh,
but
Heavenly
it's
Kid.
Great. It's great. I had no idea, but Elise was like, put on Heavenly Kid, and then she was out.
I got confused at that.
So then I put it on and then had to deal with the repercussions, and it just starts, and it starts like almost in the middle of a movie, and it's like a 50s like, hey, two greasers, and one of the greasers is like, you ruined my, like, you tried to come on to my girl, and then he's like, I didn't know it was your girl. He's like, we're gonna settle this by playing chicken in our cars, and then he goes over, and the girl is played by the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, but a very young version of her, and then
Jane Kazariga.
Sure, yeah. And then so they get in the cars, but it's not chicken at each other. It's chicken like a drag race towards the edge of a cliff. This is, by the way, an aside. Literally nothing other than 80s
so
movies.
is it who pulls away first?
Whoever pulls away first. And so they're driving. But the only thing is, for some reason, the pulling away is not putting the brake on your car. It's opening the driver's side door and diving out.
Wait, so your car goes
And so the first guy, they're driving towards the edge of a cliff, and the first guy he goes, huh? And then opens the door and then dives out, and then our hero goes like, yeah, I did it. And then, so he's like celebrating or whatever. And then he's like, all right, now time for me to dive out of my car, which seems really dangerous because then there's a moving car that's heading toward, but he goes to dive out of his car and his wrist is stuck on the steering wheel and he goes, oh no. So then he goes over the edge and then he crashes and dies in it. And then he goes to this really weird, surreal late 80s interpretation of heaven, which is basically like the subway. But either way, I just thought it was really funny because they were like his whole thing is he's like, oh no, my wrist is strapped. I'm like, hit the brakes. Like you can, you're still perfectly fine here.
I like the idea that, like, in order to not sustain life-threatening injuries by diving out of the car, they would have to be playing chicken at, like, maybe 20 miles an hour or less.
Yes.
So they're just slowly creeping towards the edge of a cliff, like, much less exciting.
Prior to this, we were watching Golden Era Hollywood movie bloopers, which are also great because, you know, it's black and white and you have these actors speaking in transatlantic accents. So they're like, well, I just don't know, dear. I don't know if we're going to be there. Oh, fuck me in the ass. And you're it's like, it's not funny. It's not charming because it just feels disorienting and disjointed. But anyway.
Well, also I noticed that a lot of people of that time cursed by saying
nuts.
Like, God bless my soul. Like there's like so many old men who like are playing miners and stuff, or like, God bless my soul. Like they're all wacky old people. Anyway, we fell asleep pretty quick. Is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
What else you got there?
My headphones died. Anyways,
you can see it.
let's hear a word from our sponsor, and then we'll be back with really great movies from the 80s, and not any more of that.
No more COVID.
One thing we learned in 2020, the internet is even more awesome than we thought. Groceries online, movies online, doctor visits online, and of course, going to the post office online with Stamps.com. Stamps.com allows businesses to do all of their mailing and shipping right from their computer. No need to leave their home or office or home office. Stamps.com has saved small businesses all over the country thousands of hours and tons of money, and now you can too. With Stamps.com, you get the services of the post office and UPS right on your computer. Plus, big discounts on mailing and shipping rates. Whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller shipping out orders, or even a giant warehouse sending thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. Simply use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. It's that simple. With Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first-class stamp, 40% off all priority mail, and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Not to mention, it's a fraction of the cost of those expensive postage meters. Stamps.com is a no-brainer, saving you time and money. It's no wonder over 900,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com. So make 2021 the year you stop wasting time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk, and with our promo code DUDE, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in DUDE. That's Stamps.com, promo code DUDE. Stamps.com, never go to the post office again. Sorry, my headphones died like right in the middle of that really awesome conversation
really
about
what happened to the guy in the car?
You missed it all.
Did he make it?
So I had to switch. But one of the other things I wanted to talk about and why I was really excited to bring Ricky onto this podcast is because one of our favorite shows, our non-favorite shows, is back on the air. It's shitty reality TV. You gotta love it and you hate it. It's The Bachelor. And it's back. There would be applause right now. Cody, that's what I should have. I should have had Cody when I say The Bachelor's back. I needed like a wave of applause. But anyways, it's back. And just makes me feel good when I watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when sports came back after the hiatus because of COVID. I was like, finally, something to watch. Bachelor is like proof that the world keeps on turning. Like, nothing's going to stop. Nothing's going to stop football, baseball. Nothing's going to stop the production of The Bachelor.
I wanted to ask, does The Bachelor feel like a markedly different show produced in COVID times?
No, because they... everyone gets tested and then does like a 10-day quarantine, and then they start the filming, and they, instead of, traveling and doing like the whole travel version of the show, they stay in one resort that they've completely bought out, and they make it their own bubble. So it really does feel as though you're watching something normal. But no, it's like Lindsay said, the show is absolute trash. It's overproduced. It's completely fake. It's as bad as reality TV can get, but it's so watchable just because I don't know, like for whatever reason, I really enjoy like how ridiculous it is, because it was like, I think Paul Scheer and his wife made a spoof version of The Bachelor years ago, like 10 years ago or something. And I remember I got back into watching the actual Bachelor during Hannah Brown's season. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Burning Love. I was just looking up the
Burning
name of that.
Love. I love Ken Marino.
There was a season like 3 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, with Hannah Brown was the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
And that season, I just for some reason was like, I'm going to watch this again from the beginning and try to get into it. And that season was like the most bonkers season of a show that I've ever seen, to where it was like it went above and beyond the parody version. Like the parody version could no longer exist as a parody because of how ridiculous the actual show has gotten.
It's like House of Cards. Beyond the Kevin Spacey thing, they couldn't keep making that show because American politics had already become more of a cartoon.
Yes.
I'm curious. So, as someone who doesn't watch The Bachelor, I've only ever watched one season of Joe Millionaire, and that's as close as I get to like those reality competition shows. I have seen all of Burning Love, so I guess I have seen that.
Yeah, Burning Love.
But what makes you guys watch it? What do you enjoy? Like you said, it's comforting, which I totally get for some of that like mindless stuff. Because we talked about Bake Off before. I love Bake Off as a comfort show.
Bake Off is like a different... Bake Off is wholesome and comforting and feel good and like cheerful. And The Bachelor and The Bachelorette is sort of like, yo, I'm going to get this glass of wine, aka this bottle of wine. I'm going to down it and I'm going to watch a straight up shit show on the TV. Okay. And it's good in the way that it's like, crazy stuff happens. You're expecting it because it's reality TV. But then sometimes you're even like, what?
Lindsay,
that's not real.
Do you ever shout at it while you're watching it?
Oh yeah, and that's part of the fun is you're watching it and you're like, what the fuck is that guy doing? Like what?
Yeah, I'll like text Lindsay and be like, are you seeing this? Like, and there'll be parts that are so cringy that I either have to get up and I'll pace the room, or if I'm already like into the couch and have a blanket, like I am like, I want to die watching it. I think what makes it compelling specifically now is that, it's always been like a popularity contest, but in the last 5 years, there is a very successful career to be made off of Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all that stuff for every contestant. So more so than trying to get married to whoever the Bachelor or Bachelorette is, everyone on the show is competing to be as insane as possible
to like establish their brand, their social brand.
To be like the next influencer.
So they're constantly trying to like outdo each other, and the natural progression just leads to pure chaos. Like they want to be the standout.
I heard about that Bachelorette though, that she like had already social stalked and picked out who she wanted to marry prior to the show and broke the show.
So with the last Bachelorette season, they met all the guys, or she like knew of all the guys, and then they couldn't film because it was starting right when COVID was happening. And then she like knew all their Instagram handles, and like they say they didn't contact each other, but she knew who they were. And like, yeah, if you had like 20 guys and you're like, well, which one do I like? This one's the cutest, like this one's ugly, you know, this one's racist, whatever. Then she could find out who she's already going to have that predisposed like attraction to.
It still blows my mind though, because when I think of the way you guys are describing the contestants and the setup of the show, it's that finding someone you are actually compatible with seems like it is maybe fourth or fifth on the rung of your priorities while being on the show. So I'm just shocked that someone was like, this is the man that I love.
And she's still with him, I think.
She is? Because my question was like, she doesn't seem like she was someone that was going for fame then.
Well, she'd already been on the show like 5 times.
She was already on the show several times.
Yeah.
And she was on different versions of the show. And so it was like her ultimate chance. And like they made a whole big deal about her being like the oldest bachelorette in Bachelorette history. Which she was 39, looking for love.
Look, there's like... when it comes down to it, this show is trash, and it knows exactly what it is, and the audience wants a certain level of chaos, obviously. So, like, when at the beginning of that season, like, look, great. It's an older season with older guys and an older woman, but you're not going to get the same, like, pure chaos that a young cast with, like, a young bachelor or bachelorette and a bunch of young people who have no idea the repercussions of their actions. Like that's the real like juice. Like that's what really makes the show crazy and watchable, is when they're all a bunch of like 20-year-olds who have no idea how to like live their lives in any normal sense and are literally just going after the fame. That's what makes it like, I feel like, you know, you're in like a Roman Coliseum watching people fight to the death. Like that's what The Bachelorette feels like. They're all just ruining their lives for entertainment for everyone watching.
Yeah. And that's what we're kind of seeing more with this season.
This season is far, like, there's what I think, and I think Lindsay thinks the same way, an obvious plant from the producers who is only there to sow chaos with the rest of the girls. Like, if at any moment what's happening on screen is too normal, like, oh, I hope he picks me to go horseback riding. Like, this girl will shove her head into the room and be like, yeah, well, I one time a horse bit me, and I'm gonna go kill your horse right now in front of everyone, and like just whatever the most off the wall thing possible. It's so like there's no way that she's a real person who's really trying to do the right thing on the show, because it's like every moment she does what you would think like a writer on a screenplay would do to make it the most unbelievable thing possible.
It's so fun, and I know that there's probably a lot of people watching right now or listening who are like, I don't care about The Bachelor. But you know what? If you want something like just... I mean, and there's lots of options to put on some crap on TV, but, you know, if you want to talk to us about it, watch The Bachelor. We'll talk about The Bachelor with you.
I mean, the thing... I get it. I don't ever, like... Reality TV, the only thing I don't like about it is how it put a lot of writers out of work, and how they like have managed, the industry kind of managed to skirt a lot of union.
They're still writing for The Bachelor, baby. You just heard everything Ricky said.
Well, except that they're not hiring writers; they're hiring whatever story producers that they don't have to give the same leeway to. But other than that, I was watching like Real World. Like season 5 or whatever. I used to eat that up when I was young. I always really enjoyed it.
There were a couple of seasons of Big Brother that I got really into, and also with Big Brother, it's like it's all about the machinations of what the alliances that they're forming in that house. And then there was a time too when they would have these 24/7 cameras up in the house. So even if an episode wasn't happening, you could go and you could just like kind of watch them in the house, and like. I got kind of into it because it was more of the social experiment than it was, you know, just people being outlandish for the sake of being outlandish. But I love a good show you could shout at.
See, that's the thing though, is I never really. I mean, I watched Real World and Road Rules when I was a kid, but like the wave of reality shows that happened in the early 2000s up until now, Bachelor's pretty much the only thing that I've ever got caught into, and it's just because I think it's because it still has that element of actual reality in it, and it's not just pre-produced like the Kardashians or like some of those other shows where it's reality shows based on reality, but everything they're doing happens in an ecosystem that's planned out. And
that's the issue, is that every reality show now is all pucks. This is my favorite reference. It's all pucks as opposed to one puck.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
At least
the only reality show I've got into recently was a few years ago watching Terrace House, because it was sort of the anti-reality show of let's do a reality show where there is no actual conflict, and that's going to be the show. So.
Well, I started trying to watch because everyone was talking about 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh yes,
and I got to the point where I was like, okay, there's something crazy going on here. I should probably watch it just to like, if everyone's talking about it, I'm like, all right, well, I'll give it a shot at least. And specifically, I kept hearing about 90 Day Fiancé, and I started watching a couple episodes, and I got kind of into it was probably like a year ago or something that I was like sort of following along pretty regularly. And I remember one night they were doing like a marathon of it, and I was like, oh, I'll be able to get caught up with where everyone's at. So I started watching it, and I remember sitting there in bed, and I felt terrible. And I've had, panic attacks and anxiety attacks before. What I was having was it took me a while to realize that it was happening, but I was actually having like a mild anxiety attack, and it was like caused by the show, because the show was so like, there was parts that were like mean-spirited. There were parts where I legitimately felt bad for what was going on. There was like, it was just kind of a mean thing to watch happen. And I remember being like, why do I feel like this? Like I had never like felt like that from a show before, where I was just like, and I like changed the channel, and I think I put on like some show on HGTV where they like build houses or something, and I was like, oh, I feel better now. Like it made me feel bad. Like, and I've never gotten that way. I can usually watch something like objectively and be like, oh, well, this show sucks, or I'm just not going to watch this. But like I was like hooked on it, so I kept watching it, and just like it just didn't make me feel good at all. It wasn't like a horror movie where I'm like, oh, that sucks. But it was. You're
an empathetic person, so you're just
I'm a Cancer.
And you can't even like build that barrier and say these are actors, this was written, this is made up. When to a degree you're just soaking in like this horrible. Really, I get that.
And I think that's the separation with The Bachelor, is like everyone in that show knows what they're getting themselves into. The 90 Day Fiancé thing is like, there's a really fucked dynamic going on in at least the season that I watched, which was, I think people from America went to other people's countries to marry them. Oh. And it was like, the dynamic was all over the place. And I was like, this makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. And everyone involved feels trapped in what they're doing. And like, even if they don't like what's going on, they can't really like escape from it. It was just like, I felt like I was held hostage watching people being held hostage. It was bad. Whereas like Bachelor, like something crazy happens and I'm like, oh, well, they knew what they were getting themselves into. There's been 20 years of this show. Like, there's no surprises here.
Did anyone ever watch the Joe Schmo show?
It sounds familiar.
Has anyone watched that? I know it.
Is that a dating show?
No, it was a reality TV show where only one contestant was real, and all of the rest of them were actors pretending to be contestants. I think this is like pre-Burning Love, and this is like the first like postmodern reality show, and it's pretty.
So this is gaslighting the show.
It's pretty amazing. There's this one guy, and he thought he was on a show where he was gonna like win like $100,000, like just a reality show where a bunch of people live in a house together and like do challenges every single week and vote people off, like basically a Survivor. And he thought he was competing for $100,000, but he was the only real person. Everyone else, Kristen Wiig was on it, Ralph Garman, like it had like a bunch of people, and they would basically improvise and do comedian and stuff. But the thing about the show that made it so great was that it was supposed to be like a joke on him, but then every single time the producers set up some sort of situation, or it just happened naturally where someone would be like, I'm in this for my influence or whatever, he would always do the right thing and be like the perfect nice guy. Like, he hurt someone in like an episode during a competition. He like hurt someone, and he insisted upon like even though he won, giving the prize to the person who he had injured. And then there's one point where someone was voted off and he like almost had a breakdown because he like questioning whether or not any amount of money is worth the kind of like, not what they were doing to him, but like the mental strain it was putting on the group of, and so like it was weird. And he was like, I guess just plucked kind of out of nowhere that like they just got this guy. And it's amazing watching the whole show just for the final episode where then they reveal that the whole thing was a trick is like, it's pretty wild. It's like Truman Show level stuff, but I wish there was more. I guess I wish there was more reality that was kind of like that, and I know that's harder to do. But
trickery,
not trickery, but like,
well, that's like, I mean, like kind of like Nathan For You scratches that itch a bit, but like he always gets people there. I don't think a lot of the people that he, you know, interacts with on that show are as wholesome as Joe Schmo.
No,
because they usually just go along with whatever terrible plan he has.
Yeah.
Have you seen How To with John Wilson?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, baby.
Love it so much.
Yeah.
Man, the
first episode where he meets that guy in Mexico, and they go partying, and then he finds out that, like, I don't want to spoil the show if you haven't seen it, but like that is like a masterpiece in like where you go emotionally on that journey
following
with
the thread,
his friend. Yeah.
Every episode is like a wild emotional roller coaster, and then you go, how do we end up here? We were just talking about scaffolding. Like how are we here?
Yeah.
Cody shouted at Survivor.
I have watched a few.
Is kind of the granddaddy of you know, reality TV.
Well,
now they have like The Masked Dancer and Singer, and I've never even seen 1 second of it.
I think Survivor is what turned the landscape of reality TV into, you know, every single cast member needs to be a character, and these are not slice of life mini documentaries. Because like Real World again, I think was like the OG, but Real World seemed like it came from a genuine place of like, what would happen if we put someone who, you know, is conservative in the same house with someone who's gay, and then like, let's just see, you know, like that's what it kind of started as. And then it did almost feel like it was a documentary kind of style show, and then Survivor came out and it was like, oh wait, if we have this really like sinister person who's just like a television supervillain, people will watch it 10 times as much, you know.
Yeah. I feel like one of the things that a lot of the reality shows that I watch, like The Bachelor, or the only other one that I really watch is American Idol, is the contestants have to have sort of like that trauma factor. And they have to have this story.
Yeah,
so that's like
a lot of it's
the biggest thing with The Bachelor right now is the people are like, tell me what happened to you. No, like what really happened to you.
Yeah, so those parts are kind of gross. You can tell that the producers are feeding the questions to the main contestant to be like, you know, and they always keep pushing this, you know, you have to be honest. Yeah, you have to be honest, you know, trust this process, be vulnerable. And it's just like, go do the thing where they have to play flag football and they fight each other because one of them trips onto the other. Like that's great. Yeah. But like, there's a lot of manipulation going on in the recent ones, which is kind of gross. There's a promo for an episode coming up where like they find out that one of the girls like may have been a sex worker, and there's a lot of like weird shaming going on in the promos for it, and it's like, I mean, you know what you're getting with the show, but they're really like, they're starting to do these storylines that are like kind of, they're making it like wrestling sort of, but it's a reality dating show where they're like heightening everything, like to the point where at one point it's going to get too heightened and something bad's going to happen.
Like they can't all just be contestants anymore. They also have to be like these characters, like right away, pretty much. So
yeah, and in most cases it is fun and like harmless, but there's some kind of gross shit going on in some of the recent seasons.
But another part about it that I still like, and I like about regular reality shows, is just there's still like one or two people in a show that you find and you're like, oh, that person's kind of normal, and like I'm rooting for that normal person. So you still find that like sort of, I'm rooting for this person, or I'm rooting for somebody. And you're watching the shit show that's unfolding all around the person.
What's the guy's name?
Why did I do this?
A long-haired blonde guy. He was on Hannah Beth's season, then he was on Bachelor in Paradise, where like you can tell that he is just there for the ride, and he would just like he would literally just be at the like things before the rose ceremonies, just getting drunk and be like, yeah, what's up, everybody? We're all here having fun, right? Like, did not care at all about
John
anything
Paul
that was going
Jones
on.
is the name
Yeah,
of the
John
person
Paul
he's
Jones.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
John Paul.
Yeah.
What's up, bro? He's like, well, I'm hanging out.
And he says his full name, so he's like, oh, I'm John Paul Jones.
He's like, whoa. That's him, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love shitty reality TV. I can't wait to watch The Bachelor later tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you can always count on it being there, like sports. During the quarantine stuff that's going on, it's like anything that's like new and actively happening. Like pre-produced shows are great. I'm really enjoying WandaVision. Mandalorian was great, but like stuff it's just, I don't know. There's some kind of like weird thing about if it's happening now and being recorded. It's like interesting to me.
It's a warm, sticky blanket.
Yeah, it's a filthy, disgusting blanket.
We're going to have one more word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back just a few more minutes and kind of wrap things up here today. After the year we've all been through, saving money should be at the top of everyone's resolution list. So if you're still paying insane amounts of money every month for wireless, what are you doing? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. And as the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you maximize your savings with plans starting at just $15 a month. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes significant savings on to you. All plans come with the unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data covered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/dude. That's mintmobile.com/dude. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/dude.
This episode is brought to you by Public Rec. So I'll be honest with you, the copy that I was provided was asked for me to talk about some of the things that I don't like about lounge pants or loungewear or anything like that. And I'm just going to actually flip it real quick because I actually love loungewear. I love lounge pants, especially given the way maybe my work lifestyle has changed in the last year or so. I love the ability to be comfortable but not feel like I am kind of a slob, if that makes sense. And it helps me work better, it helps me work smarter, and it helps me work really well and be really happy about that. So I want to flip it and just talk about, I know loungewear. And these Public Rec lounge pants that I am wearing right now are fantastic. They fit perfectly. The length is perfect. They have all kinds of pockets. I'm still discovering. I love when you can discover pockets. I'm sorry, I'm touching my pants right now. They feel really good. And so instead of talking about what I don't like about other pants, I just want to tell you how much I really, really genuinely love these pants. Public Rec, they make leisure wear in waist and inseam sizes because comfort starts with a better fit. So you don't have to worry about finding something that fits your waist but is maybe a little too short or too long for your legs. The pants that I have on right now are perfect. They nailed it. Given my sizes, it's great. The pants that I have are the best selling all day, every day pants. They're more stylish. So when I look at myself in a mirror or something like that, I don't feel ashamed. And I have no qualms going out if I need to, wearing these pants, whether it's just for a walk or, I mean, I don't really do much else, but when all this is over, you better believe I'm going to go to a fancy restaurant wearing these pants. They are fantastic. They are super comfortable. And here's another thing that I also tested with them. They work across a massive temperature spectrum. That's very important because sometimes you get a lounge pants that's perfect for winter, and then you'll need to get some shorts or something else that are great for summer. Not these. They are fantastic all-weather pants. I've tried them in multiple different temperatures. I've put them through the ringer. I basically would just crash test dummy for these pants, and I love them. They always feel great. They always feel nice. I feel comfortable. My legs feel like, I mean, I wish I could just cover my body in it. They are made from breathable, stretchy, moisture-wicking fabric. You can wear them all day, every day. They look brand new. They have zipper pockets, so you don't have to worry about your phone falling out or anything like that. They come in 9 different colors. Maybe you want one for every day of the week. I'm not opposed to it. Plus, you can get your whole wardrobe from Public Rec. They've got incredibly comfortable shorts, t-shirts, Henleys, polos, hoodies, jackets, and even golf gear. I'm probably not going to use the golf gear to golf, but I would totally just lie around in it. It'd be great. Also, we've got an amazing offer for you. Public Rec rarely discounts, but right now they have an exclusive offer just for Dude Soup listeners. Go to publicrec.com/dude and use promo code DUDE to receive 10% off. That's Public Rec, REC, and use promo code DUDE for 10% off. These are great pants. You will not regret it. Keep yourself comfortable.
I didn't really have a bunch of other stuff to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on this week. We don't have to talk about it. We can talk about it. Ricky, what does the future of your and Elliot's channel look like after this week?
What? Because we don't have to talk about Trump? Hopefully great. Hopefully we don't have, like, I would love...
Do you just push the delete button here?
I just...
Go, channel's over. We've done what we came to do.
It's so funny, too, because people are always like, you know, not very often, but there'll be some, like, disingenuous comments that are like, oh, shut up about Trump. And it's like, dude, the guy has sucked all of the air out of the room. Like, he is the biggest thing in the world. Like, everything that he does, I wish everything that he didn't have, like, detrimental consequences. But that's just the way things are. And it's like, yeah, we would love to go back to a time where we were talking about, you know, random clown sightings across America. But like, there's just like everything just got so serious so fast, and like what we do is try to make fun of everything that's happening. That's, you know, we talk about serious stuff on the show, but we try to have fun with it as much as possible. And I think we find like a decent balance of that. And you know, people seem to enjoy it, and we get less and less comments, you know, of telling us what we should report on, and more of just like, you know, people reach out and they're like, hey, like I obviously saw a headline about this thing that happened, but didn't know the details of it. And I learned a lot by watching your show, but also you present it in a way that's, you know, funny while you're getting the point across. So, you know, it's kind of, we have morphed the show, I guess, into a bit of a more of a serious kind of thing, but still try to make fun of everything that's going on.
Well, and I gotta say, like, I was excited to have you on because I mean, I've been friends with you for a long time, but I only started actually watching a lot of your guys' video, like, on the regular, probably maybe around when the election started. Like, I would check in here and there because I like to support my friends. I'm like, cool, good for you.
Thank you.
I subbed to the channel, and I started watching it, and now, like, I watch, I think, all your guys' videos. I put it on at night before I, like, hop off the computer, and I'll be like, what happened this week? I want to hear what Ricky and Elliot have to say. So I just want to say I've been really enjoying it.
Teen Doctor is back.
Yeah, Teen Doctor is back. Yeah. No, it's good and it's fun, and it's, you know, there's a little bit more pressure now in getting things right, whereas before it would be like, you know, guess what? Spider-Man's making a new movie. They're going to be a new Spider-Man movie. And now it's more like, okay, we kind of have to like dig deeper into the stories that like not that like everything has to be serious, but like we have to do a better job more getting things right and being factually correct before we can start tearing into things. Elliot is really good at that. I'm trying to get better at it, but
I have a question.
Please,
How did Teen Doctor pull the wool again?
Oh, recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, he, for some reason, like some either a very generous person who believes in full rehabilitation, or someone who has no idea who this guy is at all, gave him a job at a logistics company. And so he, within working there for a couple of months, like, I think in his brain figured it out enough to start running a scam based on the new industry he was involved in. But like, that's what I said on the show too, is like this, he's got moxie. And there's something that he's doing, like his brain works right in the wrong way. Like, he's very good at picking up on things. And like, if you could like direct his energy at doing something positive, he could do it really well. Instead, there is something wrong. Like, there has to be something wrong in his brain that just makes him do the wrong thing morally every time. Because like, we were saying back when he got arrested the first time, like, I don't think you can be a doctor going to prison for what he did, but in reality, he could probably sit in his cell and study and like do something positive with his life, because he does pick up on things very quick and he's good at what he does. The problem is what he does is scams.
I just watched Adventures in Babysitting for the first time. And Christina Applegate, you know, she gets that job.
No, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
That's Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Don't tell Mom the Babysitter's Sorry. Don't tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh, yeah.
and she gets that job at the agency or whatever. But she's clearly got a talent for it. I mean, she had to support the kids.
And luckily, that job is much less detrimental than being a doctor who, he was like scamming old women and doing actual like pap smears and stuff without a license.
Oh no!
Come on, Teen Doctor.
But
it's like Catch Me If You Can, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like characters like him, Martin Shkreli, who was recently back in the news because he had a love affair with someone that was covering him for, I believe, the Wall Street Journal or something like that, and. Yeah, there's a whole like laundry list of wacko characters. That's the American news never stops because Americans are insane.
We don't hear much from him anymore. But I just the other week or something, I was like, remember Kim.com?
Oh yeah, I think he lives in like New Zealand now, right?
He's like in New Zealand, but he's the kind of thing too. I was like, oh yeah, and then I went to his Wikipedia, and it's like Kim.com, like. From the age of 12, like managed to create a fake hedge fund or whatever. I'm like that's genius. But the fact that every single genius plot, like you have to be super smart to be able to do that. But every single effort you put forth is for negative moral results.
Yeah,
it's like pretty remarkable.
It's like that kid Jacob Wall who started defrauding like people in the financial industry and then worked his way into just being like a weirdo political operative.
Alt-right sounding board or whatever.
Yeah, but also who consistently fails at everything he does.
Yeah.
But somehow keeps getting away with being able to do more outrageous and outlandish stuff. So it's like everyone in this country that like makes the news is like ratcheted it up to like 100. They're all pucks. Like real people are all pucks now, as you would say. So it's just kind of like lucky that we, stumbled into editing for a news program and then took over a news program. And then we're like, oh man, you know what's crazy? And you know what never ends? The news.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah.
So it's like an unlimited supply of like shit to talk about. And it's like, even on like a day where I'm like, oh, it's going to be hard to find a story today to do an episode about. It's just fire up twitter.com and just there's always some character doing something. Like the other day when it's just like, wow, welcome to 2021. Here's Bean Dad.
Oh yeah, Bean Dad. Yeah.
So
I feel like those types of human beings have always existed. There have always been pucks. Probably hence the character Puck, from which Puck pulled his name.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's always been that aspect of it, except that now there's just a larger platform for people to, like, amplify.
Yeah, and there's no small news stories.
And there's hashtags and such, so.
Because,
everything will have its 20 minutes.
In like, realistically, that Bean Dad guy making a stupid joke about, like, a learning lesson with his child should have been a blip on nobody's radar. But instead, it turned into national news. Like it's
but it's funny how
the
quickly it was
with
eclipsed though, and then immediately we all forgot about Bean Dad.
Yeah, luckily for Bean Dad, an insurrection happened.
That was the only thing that could take down Bean Dad.
Yeah.
Oh well, I can't wait to hear more about the future of this country and Bean Dads all across the country.
Yeah, we're about to go film all about the MyPillow CEO trying to do a coup. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon person that's in the government, who is filing articles of impeachment against Joe Biden on day one. Great. And also seems like she gave a tour to some of the insurrectionists at the Capitol before the insurrection. And Rudy Giuliani can't represent the president in his impeachment trial because he was literally involved in the insurrection.
Oh, we hate to see it. Yeah.
It's so like,
how did it come to this?
They're all a bunch of Mr. Magoo's.
Yeah.
And they keep getting away with it.
Yeah. Same like, well, that's what happened to Mr. Magoo.
I know.
At a certain point, Mr. Magoo should have died in a car accident or something, but he doesn't.
But those iron beams just keep getting put up by a tractor, and he keeps stepping correctly in the right direction.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Ricky. You want to tell the people where to find your channel and where to find you on the internet?
Yes, go to I don't even know if our like custom link works. I think it's Internet Today TV if you put that at the end of YouTube. But just search Internet Today. You can find us there. Ricky FTW on Twitter. I also stream on Twitch every once in a while. Mostly it's just been Magic the Gathering recently. But
that's cool, refreshing.
I do love it. I've played 300 hours since October. It's been the only thing that's gotten me through like the past couple of months.
That's awesome.
So yeah, all over.
Great. Well, thanks again. Thanks, James and Lise, as always. And thank you, Cody, our TD. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
Bye.